My purpose in writing this book is to record some of my experiences of business and personal travel in the U.S. and many foreign countries with my family and friends. These stories are based on actual happenings, but some of the names have been changed to protect the privacy of some of the individuals involved. Some of the tales are about the perils and dangers of travel. Some tales are humorous, and others are insight into different cultures and customs. These and other observations have been a result of my good fortune to have traveled around the world, and I'm happy to share them with my family and my friends. You asked me about one of my favorites, and I'm going to say, well, there's a couple of them that comes to mind. One of the, or two of my favorites in the book are humorous. One is it's called Disco Carl. Carl was an American expat living in Cebu, Philippines, and he was a business friend of mine. He's part owner of a factory that I bought from. And one evening we were at the St. Moritz Bar and Grill where a lot of expats hung out in the late afternoon. And after a couple of beers, Carl said, let's go up to the new disco. And me and my friend with me, Gene, said, sound like a good idea. So we went out and got in Carl's car, and he had the driver, Malu, I never will forget him. And we started up the winding mountain road up to this new disco. About halfway up the mountain, Carl had nature call, so he had Malu to stop the car, and he steps out the passenger side of the car and disappears immediately. In about 5 seconds, Gene and I got out of the car to see what had happened. Well, Carl had stepped into an open manhole up to about his waist, and so we pulled him out of there, and you can imagine it was a terrible smell. Anyway, we said, let's call this back, take us back to our hotel. Carl said, no, we're going to the disco. So we proceed to the disco, and Carl marches in right through the dance floor, right over to the bar, and orders beer, which is San Miguel there in the Philippines. And Carl continued to dance the night away. No one could see that his pants were wet, but the smell was another matter. So he danced without a partner the rest of the night. So that's one of my favorites. You asked me about some of the perils. My favorite, I wish it had never happened, but it's one that sticks in my mind foremost. In the book, it's chapter named After 9/11. We all remember the World Trade attack in 9/11. 2 weeks after that, I made a trip to Indonesia. It had been scheduled ahead of time, and I had a stop in Hong Kong on the way, and I kept talking to my contact with the freight company there that always picked me up at the airport and took me to my hotel and places. If it was safe to come, they kept saying, oh, it's fine, Don, it's fine, Don. And I even called from Singapore, which is the last leg into Surabaya, where I was going on this trip. I arrived in Surabaya, I was picked up, took to the hotel that I normally stay in, and the Westin there. And I was tired after the trip, went to bed early, and that night about midnight I got a threatening phone call that came from without the hotel, because the arrangement we had there, they would call me on any incoming calls for me. They'd call me first and tell me who it was. But this story goes into how I was able to leave Surabaya on a clandestine in a clandestine way and fly to Bali, an alternate route, as opposed to flying directly back to Singapore. And the problems I had getting there and getting a flight out. But I won't go into any further details, but it is the one story that sticks in my mind, which again, at that point in time, it was perilous to be in Indonesia.